And joining us now is House Infra Committee Chairman Terry Ridon as the panel continues its probe into alleged anomalies in flood control projects. Congressman Ridon, good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
Good to see you again, sir. Sir, question on everybody's mind. Where is Zaldy Co now? I know you're not Zaldy Co's keeper, but I'm sure you're also curious where he is. Kasi, just as an example, Rappler published a list of the dates when Zaldy was not present in Congress. And that seems to be from the start of the 20th Congress, wala na siya. The last days of July, he was officially notified the House of his absence, and then the first week of August, absent without notice, and then the rest of August, puro excused, presumably because of, I don't know, does that mean in your excuse that means it's official business? I'm sure you're also curious, considering how the investigation is going. Any idea where he is?
Well, I don't know where he is. No, so I haven't seen him in Congress in the last couple of weeks. So I think it's better asked to his staff, no? Kasi he has an office naman po in Congress. So I think it's better referred to the Chief of Staff of Congressman Zaldy Co as to his whereabouts today.
But there was also, the last hearing, there was also some heated discussion as to whether or not he would or should or could be called. Actually, I don't even know if, can you actually even just summon a fellow congressman? I mean, is that even in the books, in the rules? Can you just summon somebody from within Congress if it comes to if his name comes up in an investigation?
I think the practice there is to just invite a congressman, but the right to be there and not be there is determined by the House member himself. So I think it's the same protocol as to how we will do it, not just for Congressman Co, but for any person that might be named in anomalous transactions relating to infrastructure and flood control projects. They will be given the right to reply, but we will immediately recuse and forward the matter to the independent commission.
Sir, by that, do you mean that they cannot be made to attend if they refuse to?
I think that has been the tradition in the past, no? So Congress and its committees cannot compel House members. They cannot be subpoenaed because of their standing as House members.
Okay, sir. Well, what if I turn the question around? In the last hearing, the motion was passed. The motion was approved of Chel Jokno, Congressman Chel Jokno, for an undertaking to be signed by all the members of the committee and the subcommittees, disclosing their financial and pecuniary interests in any of these matters to be discussed by the committee. But I'm also not clear whether or not these congressmen who do show up with some interest would automatically be inhibited from the hearing, or is that going to be voluntary in nature?
No, it's the motion basically binds them as soon as they sign the undertaking. No? So the template for the disclosures has already been sent to all members of the three committees. So we expect all of them to be able to send it back to us by the start of the next hearing on Tuesday.
Yes, sir. But my question is, what happens after disclosure? My question is whether or not they can be made to inhibit themselves, or is inhibition voluntary if it comes to that?
No. If for example, they admit in that undertaking that they are actually conflicted, they will be made to inhibit. The document basically binds them from participating in future hearings. If they disclose there that they are conflicted in any matter of inquiry in that investigation.
So that's already understood. It's not a voluntary issue. It's not a voluntary thing. Hindi pwedeng because for example, judges, I understand, recusation is a voluntary matter.
Yes, but on this particular motion, the document basically binds them. And for example, if they state that they don't have a conflict of interest, but in the future they are confronted with a conflict of interest, they will also be made to inhibit.
Okay. Sir, I think it was yesterday the Philippine Star published a list. I'll just go to the list quickly and ask you if you agree with the list. The Star published a list of 5 congressmen who are supposedly members of the Infracom. Actually, they're not just members, they're supposed to be vice chairmen who are also currently contractors or linked to, or whose families are linked to contractors. I will read this list, but of course with the qualification that it does not necessarily mean that they did something wrong. It's just that this is the situation. For example, Congressman Ferdinand Beltran daw is linked to Ferdstar Builders, Munir Arbison, Nirain Construction, Carlos Loria, Macapa Corporation, Agustina Pancho, CM Pancho Corporation, Alisa Gonzalez, AD Gonzalez Jr. Construction. Are these 5, sir, members of the committee?
I'm not sure if they're members of the Public Accounts Committee, but I think they might be a member of other committees po. No? Maybe Public Works Committee.
What about their case, sir? Again, with the qualification, with the qualifier that it's not an automatic, it's not an automatic judgment that they have done anything wrong. But
yeah, of course. Yeah, but I think to be very clear, as soon as they went into Congress, I think the expectation for them is that they have divested from these interests. No, it doesn't matter if it's a contracting business or whichever business. I think the expectation there is they should have divested from any business. They should not have any other taking than being a member of Congress. So that is my first expectation. But secondly, the question to them, therefore, on the conflict of interest question is: do they remain officers or members of these particular contracting firms? So I think they will have to disclose that in the undertaking so that they may participate in future proceedings.
Yes, sir. I understand, sir. Pero divestment has always been a tricky issue. I mean, it's easy to technically divest. And I think you'd agree with me that, everybody says that they divest. I mean, the question is, are they still beneficiaries of whatever happens to the company that they divested from? For example, if you're a member of a particular family that owns a contracting firm or any firm in particular, even if you are no longer an official, of course, you could still be a beneficiary. So you're also a lawyer. How does it work? Ano talaga yung patakaran dito? Kailan ba talagang divested ang isang tao at kailan technically divested lamang?
Yeah. Ang pinaka-problema ho talaga natin, that is the technical and legal requirement for divesting from current interests, particular businesses. So, pagka ho nagawa nila yan, talagang divested na ho sila doon sa kanila pong kumpanya, and basically they can conduct business not just for Infracom but for being a House member. So, which is why I think there are proposals na i-bind yung pong mga members of Congress, not just congressmen but also senators, dito po sa, meron kasi existing prohibition, for example, doon sa anti-graft laws na ang Pangulo, Vice President, Speaker of the House, and the Senate President, sila yung may actual legal requirement na hindi ho pwedeng makialam yung mga kamag-anak nila within the 3rd degree of consanguinity sa mga kontrata po ng gobyerno. That particular prohibition doesn't exist yet for other members of the House or members of the Senate. So, I think which is why legislation is important for that. Pero, ayun na nga, because the legal requirement is just to divest from businesses. And if they have complied with that, and sinabi ho nila na they're not conflicted, well, yun yung mangyayari talaga doon. They will be able to participate in the proceedings. Pero syempre, it's not just a legal question, it is also a political question. So, for example, if public interest groups, talagang araw-arawin po ninyo yung mga pakiramdam po natin, ay talaga naman hong, sabi nila, divested sila, pero ultimately, beneficiaries pa rin sila ng mga kumpanya po nila, it is already a political matter. No? So, we will let them decide how they would want to proceed.
Sir, when you say we will let them decide, who are you referring to?
Well, ibig sabihin, sila magdesisyon. Kung tingin nila, kahit nag-divest sila, baka maput pa rin po sila into a conflict of interest situation. Bahala ho silang magdesisyon patungkol po dito. With the caveat na talagang araw-arawin po sila ng publiko. Dahil tingin ng publiko, hindi naman ho sila talaga actually divested, kundi nakikinabang pa rin ho sila sa spoils po ng kumpanya.
But sir, isn't that putting too much? Isn't that being a little bit too optimistic? Na expecting these people to actually feel feel the pressure from the public.
Tingin ko, we have to be optimistic with the people also. Di ba? Kasi, for example, binabanggit naman ako ng maraming mga publikasyon. Sinabi na ng Stars, sinabi na ng Rappler. Di ba? So, ibig sabihin, talaga hong merong microscope on these particular, supposedly, members of Congress who are linked with contracting businesses. No? So, bahala ho silang mag-decision on what they will write in that undertaking. No? So, pero again, to be very clear, the legal requirement for divestment is umalis sila dito sa kanila pong mga kumpanya. No? So, kung nakaalis na ho sila sa mga kumpanya po na ito, ang totoo, at unfortunately, the legal boundaries for this has not yet been created nga. Kasi nga, very limited pa rin ho yung provisions for actual members of Congress na hindi Senate President at House Speaker. Pagka ho pinirmahan ho nila doon na they are not in a conflict of interest situation, they will still be allowed to proceed with the inquiry.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm just trying to figure out how we go about this. Kasi, well, I understand what you're saying. We have to be optimistic about this. Pero, I mean, you've been in the minority for the longest time. You've seen how some people apparently are not affected by such things as delicadeza. I mean, sorry for putting it that way, pero you've seen that.
Just to be clear, kung hindi sila tamaan ng kapal ng muka, if that's the idea that you would want to actually talk about, my answer to you is, pwede ho talaga silang hindi tamaan ng kapal ng muka. Hindi ba? And it is not just the document that will force them to do that. Di ba? What will force them to do that is, syempre, the scrutiny of the public na, conflicted ka naman kahit sabihin mo na nag-divest ka, andyan pa rin yung mga pamilya mo Di ba? It is not just the legal document that will force them na magkaroon po ng kapal na mukha. It is basically the public clamor also for them to be actually accountable.
What about, sir, from your end? Of course, you are the chairman of the Infracom. Is there any other way of doing this aside from just leaving it up to them in their full disclosure in the undertaking na I have no interest in these things and therefore I should be allowed to carry on with the investigation as a member, even as a vice chairman? Is there any other way of doing this to make sure that there's no conflict of interest?
Well, syempre, pagka naman ho nagkaroon na talaga ng apparent conflict of interest in the course of the inquiry. So for example, pagka pinag-usapan na natin yung actual pong kumpanya nila, ng pamilya nila, kahit divested sila, I think we will all be compelled to basically raise the question na, I think even if you are legally not conflicted, parang medyo nakakahiya na nakikialam ka dyan in the course of the inquiry. Diba? So, I think that will be raised during the proceedings itself.
But there is no way that the committee can force inhibition.
I don't think so. Ibig sabihin, panindigan niya yun. Kung tingin niya, hindi siya matamaan ng kapal ng mukha, edi he will still be there. Pero, again, ano naman ho yan Kumbaga, it is not just a legal question, it is also a political question because everyone is watching the entire proceeding. So, ibig sabihin, kung ang pinag-usapan ho nila, Company A, divested ka from this Company A that is linked to you, tapos nakikisali ka pa dyan, medyo nakakahiya na rin yun, di ba? So, kumbaga, I think these are the consequences of actually tawag dito, yung not feeling any conflict of interest, no? Dito pong mas yung mga link po ng mga House members pagka pinag-usapan no actually yung mga proyekto at mga kaso na link po sa mga kumpanya po.
Well, sir, just to take a quick look back, for example, Ping Lacson said that in the 19th Congress, of course, that's the previous Congress, 67 congressmen daw were in the construction business. That's the previous Congress. Tapos si Senator Erwin Tulfo was saying that in this Congress daw, 10 or more are contractors. Again, I say that without casting any judgment on whether or not they're doing their functions properly. It's just that those are the links that have been exposed so far. Sir, I'll go back to the previous hearing. Si Henry Alcantara, yung dating district engineer sa Bulacan, the controversial district engineer. Yeah, he was grilled, but I was also he was grilled about his habit of going to the casinos. But was he also grilled as to his lifestyle? And do you think he was grilled sufficiently about his lifestyle? Because there were also reports, although I don't know if that came up in the hearing, that he lost a significant amount in several bouts in the casino.
Well, I think nababanggit ho yan. I'm not sure if during that hearing, but also in the Senate hearing, may mga allegations nga po na nagpapatalo po ng milyon-milyon piso. Pero I think he was confronted with that fact. No? Pero ang sinasabi niya kasi, I think tens of thousands lang yung pong linalaro niya. So I think he has a actual denial na milyon-milyon piso po yung kanyang ipinapatalo po sa casino. I don't remember kung na-confront na ho siya doon po sa lifestyle. So if he hasn't been confronted yet about that, I think in the next hearing he will be confronted about that. Kasi syempre, nakita naman ho natin yung ginawa ng mga netizens ho natin. They were comparing the watches, they were comparing, I think, the clothing. So he might be confronted about that as well.
In particular, I think it was Ping Lacson who was saying na 300 million daw yung talo niya sa isang gabi. Actually, silang dalawa daw ni Bryce Hernandez. But I don't think that the 300 million was brought up officially. I mean, during any of the hearings. It's just that, bagit nga lang yung tens of thousands. As well, meron yung mamahaling kotse daw na dala-dala niya. I suppose, sir, lifestyle checks are not that hard to do. If you just talk to the people he works with, you could find out easily kung anong kotse dala niya araw-araw.
Tama po yun. I think yung DPWH supposedly under Secretary Banoan, meron siyang in-order na lifestyle checks. No? Pero we have to yet wonder also kung ano na yung plano ho ni Secretary Vince Dizon, yung bago pong DPWH Secretary, kung tuloy pa rin po ba ito pong lifestyle checks sa kanila pong mga tauhan sa DPWH.
Okay, sir. Kami lang ako. Napag-uusapan kasi yung NEP for 2026. In fact, pinapabalik ng ilang House leaders yung NEP for 2026 back to the DBM because of marami raw mga butas at marami raw mga dobling at meron pa raw insertions this early. I bring this up kasi, of course, you are now looking at the infrastructure projects in the last few budgets that were actually passed. And in doing that, you're also looking at how to, I suppose, put in legislation that would prevent that in the future. When you hear about these problems ng NEP 2026 that were supposedly, sabi nga ni Ronnie Puno, basura daw. What are your thoughts? How do you plan to go about this in order to make sure na hindi magkakaproblema ulit for 2026?
Well, I think I would support na yun na nga. Kailangan ho mag-soli ng basura. Di ba? Kung talagang basura ho yung pinadala. Kasi nga, katulad ng sinabi ho ni Congressman Puno, sa dulot-dulo ho, ang masisisi naman ho, pagka hindi ho maganda yung kalalabasan po ng budget ho natin, yung Kongreso at Senado pa rin naman ho. So, ibig sabihin, I think House members had already had enough na mali-mali ho yung laman po ng detalye nito pong National Expenditure Program. And more importantly, doon po sa House hearing namin, nakita ho namin doon yung tatlo pong mga ghost and substandard projects sa Bulacan. Inadmit ho ni Engineer Alcantara na this was never proposed by congressmen and senators. This was proposed actually by him and implemented by him. So, napasok po yun sa NEP. So, I think talaga ho kailangan isip-isipin ho talaga ng DBM kung ano ho ba yung talagang papel ho nila sa budget. Kasi basically, they were saying na kung ano ho yung pinasa ng DPWH, yun na ho yun. Parang ganun yung sinasabi nila Ang sabi ho ni Congressman Puno, but stenographer lang ba kayo? Parang ganun ho yung kanyang At I'd like to be very clear na sa totoo lang, hindi sila stenographer lang. Dapat, i-check ko talaga nila yung every line item kung tama ba. Kung meron bang mga redundancies po doon. Ibig sabihin, sa dulo-dulo naman ho, ang first touch ng DPWH budget, DPWH. Pero ang last touch ng NEP po mismo, yung pong DBM. So, hindi po pwedeng maghugas ng kamay yung pong DBM sa bagay po na ito. No? So, we'll figure out in the next couple of days kung paano po talaga ito mangyayari, kung magkakaroon po ba talaga ng solian ng NEP back to the executive or kung tatanggapin po ng Kongreso yung pong mga changes na lang po na gagawin po ng new leadership po ng DPWH together with the DBM.
Pero sir, throwing it back to the DBM will delay the budget process further. I know it should not be the primary element in making the decision on whether to throw it back or not. Pero medyo madugo yan if ibalik. Sabi nga ni DBM Secretary, it's never happened before. And you might end up with a reenacted budget.
Well, tignan pa ho natin. I think naman, pagka ho, yung 1 linggo, 2 linggo ng delay naman ho, hindi naman ho ito malaking problema. Ang sabi ho ng mga House leaders kahapon, kung kailangan hong i-forgo yung pong break, no, nung pong Kongreso, I think gagawin ho nila yon. And I think we will do it through the break, no, kung yan ho yung kailangan gawin, para tiyakin po na on time pa rin po and on schedule yung pong passage po ng 2026 budget.
Okay. Would you like to add anything else, sir?
Siguro, I'd like to announce nga na tuloy po yung hearing ng House Infracom next week. No? So, hopefully, we'll get more details about the Discaya Link companies. No? So, we'll try to get reports, for example, from the BOC, from the BIR, kung ano na po yung mga ginawa po nila dito. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit more details kasi pinapasabi na ho namin yung hindi ho nagpakita nitong nakaraan. So, kasama dyan yung mga Discaya Link firms. No? Pero I think pipirmahan po or napirmahan na po niya Justice Secretary yung pong ILBO doon sa mga involved personalities, mga contractors plus mga DPWH officials. Pero hindi pa uwata na isama sa request yung Sims Construction Trading. No? So pag-aaralan ho namin na dapat maisama rin po sa ILBO. Ito pong Sims Construction Trading, siya Sally Santos. Ito po yung managing officer. Kasi sila po yung pinaka-involved dito po sa Ghost Project sa Baliwag, Bulacan. So, kailangan ho mapasulpot. Ito po nga si Miss Sally Santos at hindi ho siya dapat makaalis sa bansa.
Sir, when you say ILBO, that's the Immigration Lookout Bulletin Order.
Tama po. Kasi I think pipirmahan na po niya Secretary Rimulya. No, ito po nga ILBO request ng DPWH no, para dun sa ilang mga particular na personalidad. Pero I think I've seen the list. Hindi po kasama yung Sims Construction Trading. Hindi ho dapat makalabas ng bansa ho yun. Kasi siya ho yung very important link dito po sa plunder ng 55 million na pondo po for infrastructure projects.
Pero sir, ang ILBO will not stop you from leaving. It's only a lookout bulletin order. It's not a whole departure order. In other words, from my understanding, pag may ILBO ka, mas conscious lang ang immigration na palabas ka. But they cannot necessarily stop you from leaving.
Wala naman tayong problema doon kasi that is the limitation that we have today. No? Pero we'd rather have that than not being able to know where they will be going or where they actually are. Di ba?
Okay. Sir, Pablo na lang. I know he's your colleague. I'm again referring to Zaldy Co. But is there any way that that Congress can or the members of Congress can find out from the leadership or ask the leadership where the colleague is? Magmula nung magsimula yung session ng 20th Congress, he hasn't appeared.
Well, to be very clear, marami din naman ho atang hindi nagpapakita sa Kongreso. No? So, hindi lang ho si Congressman Zaldy Co. No? Yung pong hindi nagpapakita at hindi ko nakikita sa mga sessions at sa mga komite. No? So, I think that should equally apply to them. No? But I don't know if how the leadership will actually dispose of it kasi each member naman ho ay talaga namang malaya na magpakita o hindi magpakita. No? So, ang publiko ang magdidesisyon no? Kung meron hong silang objection dito sa hindi pagpapakita ng kanila pong mga hinalal na mga taong gobyerno.
Okay. Maraming salamat for joining us this morning, Infrastructure Committee Chairman Terry Ridon. Sir, good morning po.
Maraming salamat. Magandang umaga.